here is where he would change his customs. And that would have been the hidden steps, no? On the side there. That's original. So this building would have been quite higher. So Corville Arch as well. So from down there you won't be able to see what was happening behind us. And then he would reappear again up there as a god. So they built this just to protect the original one.
Can I take a picture? Sorry to bother you. It's a little tricky when I'm by myself. Sorry. Thank you.
So this here is a perfect example of the work that this guy has done, no? We refer to as consolidation because that's the original rocks and they just place some new ones in between and on top just to protect. So they don't use their imagination and say, okay, this wall was 10 feet higher and then reconstruct it, no? But here we can also see the way the Mayas build their walls. This is the heart of the wall. You can see how the stones are more rough and that will retain the strength. Limestone is quite easy to disintegrate, so they will have the blocks of limestone which will be plastered and painted. No? So even though limestone disintegrates, the walls still have its strength. That's how we have the structures up to nowadays. You can hear the howler monkeys. No? Howler monkeys usually travel in groups of 6 to 8 of them, and they have a dominant male, and that's the one making that sound. And the idea is to mark their territory. No? Sometimes another troop is approaching, so that's when they start to howl. So they would, you know, like pull the air out, but they have what they call like a leaf bone, which when it passes through it, creates a huge sound. You can hear it for over 3 miles.
You hear them at cannons and things?
Yeah.
I hear.
That's the big guy in charge. So we have the East Frieze. This is the one we saw there in the visitor center. The original one is 1 meter buried behind that, no? So we have the 3 big masks, which represents the Pash god on both ends and the Chak, the rain god, in the middle. And right underneath the big mask there was doorways which would lead into the temple inside. But what happened? The Mayas, every time they would construct another level on top, they would build a retention wall to make so that the structure have its strength. So that retention wall is what we're seeing here, and then that covered the East Frieze, so that's why it's protected until now. No? So the north and the south stayed exposed. So from down the plaza, this would look like a 2-story buildings. But the front, the north and the south is disappeared now. No? Time took care of that. That's the Kill Bill Toucan. Sound?
National bird.
That's our national bird. It's making that sound. Sounds like a frog, isn't it?
Come out, little guy.
Yeah. That's the frog. This is him, see?
Yeah. It's the dinosaurs.
these steps that we're using are not original, and wasn't here in the time of the Mayas. No? So this was built in 1976 because of an earthquake that hit Guatemala. They cracked this outside of El Castillo, so they built that to retain its strength. Feel the change of temperature when you go into one of the rooms. So this section here is actually a room, no? So you can see the Corville arch, perfect how they build. And this would have been another room here, but part of it has been already gone, no? Has disintegrated. So this little raised platform here would have been the bed. So that is telling us that the ruler around 900 AD abandons his palace and ascends to live here in the top of El Castillo. No? The reason is because it's been questioned already. You know, people are starting to rebel against him. So he sees that need of protection, so he comes to live up here. No? And because we can say that they abandoned this site around 1000 AD. No? And the cause was a social and ecological mismanagement. They ecologically